Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and I wanted to take a closer look at the Planetary reveal trailer that David Braben showed to us all on Friday. It seems there's quite a lot of stuff going on here, so let's get right back there and take a look. The detail in this entire scene is actually phenomenal, and I wanted to start with a look at the SRV. There's two things here then. One gives us an idea of the attention to detail, and the other one gives us an idea of the sense of scale. Firstly, I really do like the detail on the tyres here. The treads are just great and they make perfect sense for these sort of environments that we're going to be driving around on. The other thing, of course, is the model of the passenger inside, which shows us that the vehicle itself is not all that large, maybe 10 foot from top to bottom at the most. And once the wheels on this are folded up, we can now easily see how this can fit into a Sidewinder or an Eagle. And there was also another image inside the newsletter which gives us a view from inside the Scarab here, and that allows us to see a whole bunch of other things. The UI still has the now familiar layout that we're used to within our ships, but I do wonder if some elements of this are still placeholder, because if not, I'm curious how they would apply to a vehicle. In particular, I'd like to know what the assist off means at the top of the UI there. We know in our spaceships that means flight assist off, but in the vehicles we don't know what that would be referring to at all. We do know that the vehicles have thrusters to keep them ground based and to allow them to climb certain places, so perhaps there's some sort of assistance in relation to that. Other than that, the only thing I can think of is that the UI is still placeholder and that this particular element might not make it into the final game. And the other thing, of course, is the vehicle's power balance, which again remains the same as the ship's. We can see there that the vehicle's shields seem to be down to 81%, so these things certainly carry shields. And it looks like we'd have to rely on power distribution in the same way we currently do whilst in space. But there is one other aspect that kind of confirms that this may be a placeholder UI, and that is the reference to fuel there. Now, Frontier have confirmed that the vehicles don't use fuel, or at least they can't run out of fuel. So the fact that we've got some fuel there and that it's been used up would suggest that, again, that's an element of the UI that may not be making it into the final game. So back to the planetary surface then, because there's a few other things that are worth looking at here. In the immediate vicinity, of course, we've got a landed ship as well as a crashed ship. Or actually maybe a couple of crash ships. Firstly, there's a Type 9 over to the side here, and what I really like about this is the fact it's buried, as well as the amount of debris that litter in the area. And at this distance you can still see the Scarab, so I've brought it up here and placed it next to the T9, and now we can see their size in relation to each other. Which just goes to show the immensity of this ship. Now, something that I've just realised here that is probably going to be a lot of fun is that it looks like we're going to be able to drive over the top of the crashed ship. And that sort of thing may even provide us some cover from the enemy skimmers like the ones we can see in the environment here. So it also looks like we might have a crashed Anaconda here. Not entirely sure about that. Now, the question is, was this scene just constructed simply for demo purposes? Or are we going to get crashed scenes like this within the game itself? Hopefully it's the later, and if so, that would be a lot better, especially with the Anaconda's new damage model, with the hull now exposing some of the insides of the ship. And now as we start to zoom out again, we can see that the little hills barely register on the screen, even though they're nearly the same size as the Scarab. And that clearly means that all these big massive areas here are gigantic mountains. But mountains aside, there's something very interesting all the way over here. It's what looks like some sort of base or structure inside one of the craters. Now, we've known right since the first announcement that Horizons will contain bases on planets, and this is the first time we've got the glimpse of what appears to be one. Now, these bases are not comprised of just one single structure, but it appears there is at least 7, possibly 8 structures here. We also can't determine the size of these. We've now zoomed out so far that even the Anaconda and the Type 9 are far too small to see, it would weigh less than even a single pixel, so that perhaps gives us some indication as to the size of these bases. And right nearby to this planetary base we can see a huge crater just coming into view, which appears to be even bigger than the base itself. So I take my hat off to Frontier for such a great reveal of their new planets. If there's anything in this clip that you noticed that I didn't mention, do let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. For now, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. The game has been in development for quite a few years now, and was first made accessible to players in December 2013 through its Alpha Access program. Naturally, in that time a lot of things have changed. What I'm looking at here today is one of my favourite visual areas of the game, the ring systems and their asteroids.